Hello there, and welcome to my playthrough of the Warlock of Firetop Mountain. So, while the game loads itself up, we can actually enjoy this wonderful artwork that we have just here. I think it might change as it is loading, as it is going. It takes a little bit of time to load up initially, but when I was doing testing, I don't think there are loading screens later in the game, or as we get into the game. Well, none that I saw anyway. But, so, this is the Warlock of Firetop Mountain, developed by Tin Man Games, and it is a fantasy adventure. Ah, there we go, that's some great artwork. That's a very skinny, crazy man coming towards us. So yeah, this is based on the very first book in a series of books called the Fighting Fantasy series, which were basically game books or choose your own adventure books from mostly the 80s era. I don't know if they actually started off in the 70s. Maybe late 70s, but definitely through the 80s and through the 90s, and then I think continuing even until today. And I was a massive fan of these books in my childhood. I played a lot of them, or read a lot of them, I suppose you could say, and I absolutely loved them because you could choose your own adventure, and they all had this wonderful artwork all the way through, as you can see in that loading screen, and you know, just enough in there to just really spark your imagination. And they're mostly fantasy, but there were also a few sci-fi ones. Sometimes they were kind of inspired by famous kind of movies, you know, Lord of the Rings, but also sometimes Mad Max or Star Trek. And yeah, they were brilliant and really a lot of fun. And as you can see there on the right of the screen, you would have this page which you could photocopy, where you would fill in the stats of your character, who was you, basically. You know, things like skill, stamina, and luck, I think, are the main three. And as you went through, you would make choices and fight creatures or enemies of different sorts and try your luck. You know, have all sorts of crazy things happen, and it was pretty hardcore, actually. You know, I mean, if you played it right, if your character got killed, your adventure ended there, and that was it. And you were supposed to just stop reading and start again. But I mean, sometimes you could cheat a little bit if you wanted to, but it was often fun to, you know, play it properly as it was meant to be done, and let your character die and then go through again, but make different decisions. And there was a lot of variety to the playthroughs, and yeah, they were great. Okay, use dyslexic. No, I'm going to use the Warlock themed font, I think, because that should look like what it's showing there. Yeah. So yeah, so this is an adaptation of the first book in that series, and it's basically, they've taken, I feel like there's a nice balance here with the look of it being like a typical 3D adventure game, but keeping the roots of the book itself. And I'm just going to have a look in here. Yeah, there we go. The timeline of fighting fantasy games. Yeah, so there we go. Okay, so I was wrong. It wasn't late 70s. It was indeed the 80s. 1982, the Warlock of Firetop Mountain. And I think almost all of them were this duo of writers, Steve Jackson and Ian Livingstone. And I think sometimes they did their own books, their own individual ones, but I don't think it says here. So yeah, so I never actually read the Warlock of Firetop Mountain back in the day, I remember, I think I did the Forest of Doom, definitely Starship Traveller there, which was kind of like Star Trek, which was pretty cool. You had your ship of different characters like Captain, Engineer and all that. Maybe, did I do Death Trap Dungeon? House of Hell, definitely. Oh, and Space Assassin. Space Assassin was fantastic. That was one of my absolute favourites. Just sneaking onto a spaceship and being an assassin, being kind of stealthy, but it got pretty crazy. Freeway Fighter, yeah, I think that was the kind of Mad Max inspired one. Any of them? I don't remember any of the others of them. Okay, so there's a Warlock of Firetop Mountain board game. Trial of the Champions, I remember playing that. Robot Commando, another sci-fi themed one I really liked, where you had basically big mech robot things. Creature of Havoc, that was good. So yeah, there's really a lot of them, and I think I must have read and played through maybe about 15 of these books. Oh, The Keep of the Lich Lord. So that was one of the later ones. I really liked that. That felt a lot kind of darker and kind of scarier than the other ones. I remember that had this kind of a fear meter where you would kind of freak out at certain things. I think like if you saw your friend who turned into a zombie or something. But yeah, they were really great. And I just remember the artwork within the books, but also the front covers. It's such a vivid memory in my mind, just that collection of books, just all the front covers are really distinctive and really yeah, wonderful artwork on there. And so, as I haven't read this particular story, I'm quite excited actually to play through a video game version of it, which I believe should have a lot of reading, maybe exactly as it was in the book, but with a lot of visuals as well from, 3D visuals. You'll soon see. But I'm just going to look through some more of the extras. Okay, yeah, so as we come across the in-game from the book artwork, I think they've kind of, I'm pretty sure it's going to be the original artwork from the book, but updated for, I think with colour versions. I think that's what they've done. Okay, we have a map. Yeah, so we are in the land of Allansia. I'm not sure, I don't think we're going to explore any of this. Not quite sure why they have this map of this big open area. Oh, I can even hear the sea there. That's kind of nice. Oh, is this, so where the island there, is that mountain there, the Firetop Mountain? Or is it one of these mountains? It could be this mountain over here, perhaps. I don't know. But this is a pretty cool map. Yeah, and there's our game sheet. I remember making photocopies of these, obviously, so I could reuse it for multiple playthroughs. I just loved, poring over that and preparing that for each of my adventures through these books. I don't know if it's a thing that has continued to modern day, if there's other writers doing it. I don't know if these guys have done any more. When was actually the most recent fighting fantasy book? I mean, they carried on for years. I mean, through the 80s, through the 90s. Okay, so kind of 2000. Yeah, so yeah, they're still going. And then I think this game, I guess, was released, 2016. There is actually on mobile, I think also, definitely created by Tin Man Games as well, a app version where you can read through, I think, about 10 or 15 of the game books. I think they give you one free one, which is this one, 2006 Bloodburns, a kind of pirate themed one, and you can read through basically digital versions of a lot of these adventures, but you do have to buy them separately. But I would say it's totally worth it because they're really well done, and it has kind of an automated fighting system and an automated adventure sheet and all of that stuff. And yeah, it's a pretty great app for discovering these game books. Now there is a history here. So yeah, the year 1982 and the UK, like every year during the 80s, was filled with good, the bad, and the downright ugly. So I would read through this, but I had a look before and it is rather long. So I don't want this introduction to get a bit too long and potentially too boring, maybe. So I might just skip through this and then... Oh, there they are. There's the two guys. I'm not sure who's... I think it's Steve Jackson on the left and Ian Livingstone on the right, but I could be wrong. So yeah, feel free to pause this and read through the history of these fantastic game books, I should say. And yeah, this really goes on a lot. There's a lot of history here. And there is the front cover, I guess the original. A fighting fantasy game book in which you become the hero. Complete with combat system monster. Yeah, they do not lie. Yeah, it was pretty great as a kid playing these. I wonder if yeah, it'd be kind of cool to try them again. The old pen and paper, do the adventure sheets, and yeah, it'd definitely be good to... I might be tempted to maybe renew my collection. Unfortunately, I don't have my collection anymore. Years ago, it ended up in a charity shop somewhere, so I'm sure some happy person discovered all of them at some point. Wow, there's a lot of history, and it is very, very interesting. And that's it. So that is about all I have to say before getting into the adventure. I'm genuinely kind of excited and looking forward to this, to see what there is to discover about Firetop Mountain. What is going on with this Warlock? I don't know if he's a villain or if it's someone like good that we have to find. I really don't know. Lots to discover. So please do come and join me in the next video when I begin my new game in Firetop Mountain. See you then, and see you soon. In the meantime, take care and bye bye.